Okay, hello. Welcome to our Sunday night call. If you don't know me, my name is Shannon Hoskinson, and I'm excited to be here. I'm an Emerald Brand Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. We are all a part of Sarah Marble's team. She can't join us tonight, so Alexa and I are going to do a fun interview style thing. So here's what happened. 6 years ago, Alexa offered me some samples of the pink drink in April. They sat on my counter until August. And in August, I tried them and went, I don't know what this is, but I just went to the bathroom 3 days in a row. What is this? So I joined under Alexa in August of 2017, promptly said, I will never be one of those people. I will never share the products. I won't do any of that. However, when I realized I could get my products paid for and a lot of people around me weren't feeling good, I went, okay, people need to know about this. And I knew I could buy into the idea of gut health. And so these products have completely changed my life. They've actually helped me reverse a diagnosis. That's a story for another time. But in case you all are confused, Alexa is my upline. Alexa recruited me. She babysat my kids, and so she was in my house. And so she knew darn good and well what was going on around here and that I didn't feel good. So I am actually Alexa's level 1. And so what we wanted to do tonight, what has happened is this last year, I started noticing a shift in Alexa. I started noticing a shift in the way she was posting and started noticing just her confidence build, and she was starting to add in other business builders. And so when we were at convention at Wild Horse Saloon, I just sat there and was like, all right, shoot me straight. What are you doing? Like, what is going on here? Like, you're like a new person. And so with that, then I want to give Alexa space and time to kind of share with us what has been going on and what has changed for her. And I think when you listen to her and your story, you're going to feel really encouraged and inspired, because I have been also. It's been really cool to watch. So with that, this is going to be kind of interview style. So Alexa, why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are, right? And kind of tell us like where you were before your turning point this year.
Okay, so yeah, it's been 8 years since I've been here, and the whole story is obviously way too long. So I'll just back up, like you said, like a year ago or so. But first, I'll say that I know what it's like to be in a slow season and watch people who are like having a lot of success or doing things well or whatever, and just wonder like, what am I doing wrong? And so first, I just want to say that it's not always what you're doing wrong. We just have different seasons and we just harvest at different times. And I know that we can always tweak things, and that is like what I'm going to be sharing, like what I have been doing. So I have been doing different things, but just know that maybe you're not doing anything wrong, but there's always things to tweak. So that's what I want to share with y'all. And second, too, before I go into all this, I am in a season where I like literally have all the time in the world. I am a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home dog mom, okay? And this is what I get to do full time. So I get to really just like pour myself into all of this, pour myself into coaching, pour myself into trainings and all of that. So, which I've been full time for a year now. So it's been really good. So I would say, so there's a few pieces to this, but I'm going to take you guys back to like July 2022. Yeah, it was like almost a year ago. And that was a month into my full time network marketing career. And I just kind of stepped back and I was like, what is my vision with this? What is my long term goal? And these people, my customers, really had no idea that one, we sponsor an orphanage in India, that two, my heart for the financial piece of this is fostering and adopting, like just these different really big life dreams and goals. And so I literally sent a 5-minute voice message to my customers that I like really had connected with, and like laid it all out there. I was like, this is what I'm doing. This is what you're a part of. I don't know what you know of our team, but like when you order supplements from me, this is what it means. And I just shared that like Emerald is my next rank and this is what this means and just kind of all of that. And I said, and I want to bring people with me. And so like who wants to come along kind of thing. So that was kind of like the 5-minute message. And I got a lot of messages back from that. Like that created some good connecting points. There wasn't a ton of people saying like, okay, yes, I want to go to the top with you, but it really reconnected a lot of those friendships. And I don't think Tara's on. Is Tara on? Okay, you are. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's when we like got to reconnect. And you were like, actually, yeah, I've been thinking. I don't really remember how it all went, but I feel like that's also when Tara and I really got to reconnect. So that was like one like starting piece to my like momentum or really connecting with my customers. And then I think it was October of last year is when I joined Emily Gibson's coaching community, Beyond the Rank. You've probably heard me talk about it, which I'm still doing today. But in 2022, the last quarter of the year, my points dropped every month of the last quarter. And it was super frustrating. So I'm like, this is when people are like so big and growing and everyone wants all of this health stuff and so like what's going on. So that was really discouraging. And 2022 was just hard. Like even after that voice message and things were like exciting in that realm, 2022 was really slow for me. And it was like to the point where I was like, I don't really know if I care to do this anymore. No one, like, I feel like no one's listening, no one's seeing my posts. Well, obviously people are seeing them, but like no one's engaging, no one's responding, people are turning off their subscriptions, like all of these really frustrating things. So in January of this year, I have no idea what happened. It must be me planting the seeds in 2022, really frustratingly, if that's a word. And I think I had like 4 or 5 sign up in January, and they were all people I have never spoken to about Plexus ever. Like they just came out of nowhere. And that was very exciting. So there was like some momentum there. And I'm trying to think. I wrote down some things to kind of like stay on track, but
Okay, well, take me back really fast. Like this
okay.
voicemail to your customers, like what propelled you to do that? And do you still have it?
I do. I could probably find it from,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I think I needed to connect with my why too, and so I think I did that first because I kind of was like I had done it in college. I had taken the supplements, um, had a great health testimony, wanted to do this, but wasn't really sure like why I was doing it, or maybe had lost connection with my why. So I think because I had just been newly married and I'm sitting at my desk and I'm like, I don't know, like, what am I doing? And I just really had to reconnect with that. I'm sure there's a training. I'm sure there was something too that kind of helped. I feel like we talked about going 7 layers deep into our why, just like different things. Maybe it was like after this time, but I feel like that was a common theme. And so I was like, you know what? I just want to like see if anyone wants to do this with me. I don't even know if they know like what they're a part of. So I was like, it's time to tell them. So that's kind of, I guess.
Do you think you got that idea from Rubies on the Rise? Or was it before that?
That's a great question.
Because the why idea, like I love what she's saying. Like Alexa had to reconnect with her why. Like
Mhm.
I love that because I think sometimes if you've been around for a long time, you do have to reconnect with your why. Like if you lose your way, why am I here? And sometimes you to get to your why, you have to ask yourself 7 questions, 7 layers deep. And that's something we could do on a different call. But anyway, I just wanted to like highlight that. Like
Yeah.
step number 1, why am I doing this? Because it wasn't the same as it had been before, right? And you're probably looking at a different network. So, okay, you reconnected with your
Yeah.
why. 2022 was really slow, but I like what you said, how in October you started doing the hard work of coaching, which I know how hard that is, right? Dealing with your thoughts. Did you get coached live at that point?
No, I had been privately coached twice with Tiffany and Emily. So yeah, October is when I financially invested into coaching, and that was hard. Now, Emily Gibson's coaching program is like a community online where they also record all the coaching calls. So you can like go back and watch. I just like poured myself into coaching calls too, and that like helped. But I got coached the other month, maybe live. So really just a few times, but like it's seriously been tremendous in just watching people get coached, learn the thought model, and self coach too. She kind of teaches you how to do that. So
Do you think you know what the negative thought was that you were operating from in 2022 that shifted into 2023?
I was really attached to the belief that I was unbalanced and that money was never enough.
What do you mean
And
by money was never enough?
like losing so much money on my paychecks because I was unbalanced, this being my career, this being like my only paycheck. Um, just like there wasn't there when we were paying our bills, but like I wanted more, like we needed more. So then there was also that pressure.
right. So you kind of had like this fear lack mindset, right? I'm unbalanced, which equals defeat. And then out of defeat, you just were
Yeah.
like, what am
Yeah.
I doing? Okay.
Mhm.
So then in January, then as people started to come out of the woodwork, and I do think that's 90 days, right? Like if you can be
Mhm.
consistent for 90 days, the fruit will start. Now, sometimes it's
Yep.
120, but do
Mhm.
you think then in January you started having a different thought, or do you have a different thought now?
Um, so a new thought was my belief that I can help anyone that comes to me. Like I honestly believe that. And I didn't think I realized that I didn't believe that before, but now that I
Mm.
believe it, it's totally different. And so so my messaging is different.
Mhm.
And when people come to me with like a PCOS or a really big thing, I like know at least like the next step. Obviously, like we have questions to ask, and our team is always like, I don't know everything, obviously, but I know enough to like my confidence just takes me to the next step. And then as these people keep coming in, these testimonies keep flying in, I just get so motivated and so encouraged that I'm like, oh yeah, I just helped my friend with that, or like my friend just had this. And so it's kind of just spiraled um, onto each other.
Okay, so I love this. So like let's just go back, right? You had to figure out your why. You had to just start doing the things consistently, right? Like even in the midst of frustration, you were like, fine, I'm just going to do this consistently, right? Like I'm going to join this coaching and I'm just going to do what Emily says. I'm just going to take it on faith. Even though I feel unbalanced and defeated, I'm still going to do the steps. And then fruit came and you adopted a new thought of, I can help anyone that comes to me. And out of that, then you felt confident.
Yeah.
And that's where you would say you currently are residing. Like you
So,
just started practicing a new thought.
yeah. So that thought spurred the confidence of cold messaging.
Okay.
Now, here we go. Emily Gibson is a big fan. She'll say, if you aren't a fan of cold messaging, you haven't been in network marketing long enough because it's just necessary. She says it like this: it just adds fuel to the fire. Like if you want to go faster, you have to do cold messaging. And um or if you don't want to, that's okay too. You'll just probably go slower unless you have like an insane warm market or whatever. But if you've been in long enough, we know that kind of feels slow. And so all of those things kind of spurred cold messaging. And she's also given this example of, if you think of a billboard, right? You're driving down the road, you see a billboard for a restaurant, you recognize it and you keep on driving. But if a friend texts you and says, hey, do you want to go to so and so restaurant, same restaurant, you're more likely to respond to that question. You're more likely to ask her when and where, what do they have, blah, blah, blah. And so from there, that is just a deeper connection. You're more apt to look into it or like be curious about it. And so for me, I did a lot of thought work about my thoughts about cold messaging and what do I make that like mean about me. just a lot of like freedom from negative thinking of what are people thinking of me, because my belief is like, I know that I can help you and I know that people are suffering, and I just don't make the ghosting or the no's like mean anything about me. So that is also like a piece of this. Like there's been the mindset work and the coaching to make all of this like come to fruition, but I'm also like tweaking things and learning the specifics, which we can get into and I can share. Cause I'm sure some of you guys are like, okay, but what are you actually saying? Or like what's going on? So do you have any questions? Let me look.
No, but I mean, I just love that. And I think if you guys have followed Alexa at any point in time, I mean, I started to notice a shift in her in January. I was like, whoa, what happened here? Something's different, right? Like, and I like what you said too. Everyone's in a season. Like I would say November, December, and January was kind of my season of not actually, it was more like December, January, February, where it was just kind of quiet and kind of like, what's happening here? Right. But still just gonna do the work, right? And then March, started blooming and whatever. But I can see the confidence in you. And it is because you decided on a different thought, which I love, which my thought is, my thought is always these products are for anybody, right? Like anyone can benefit, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we would love to hear. And that was kind of what I was picking her brain about at Wild Horse Saloon was, okay, what are you saying? Like, and then how do you pick your people? So I want to know, like, how do you pick who you're going to message? How many are you messaging and what do your messages look like?
So some of you type A people aren't going to really like this, but I really don't have a set system. I have so I've gone through, I know, I've gone through my Facebook friends and like made a list. I've separated them into categories, all the things. And sometimes I'll just look at it and be like, hey, who do I want to message today? Come on, let's go. Like, come on. Like Emily Gibson, like if you have like a negative thing, like if you feel anxious or whatever, it's like, come on, anxiety, let's go. Here we go. And it's just kind of this like neutral thing. Like you're recognizing that you don't want to do something or that something's uncomfortable, but you're going to do it anyways because you want the reward or the whatever. And so sometimes, so like with this cruise contest, I printed out that tracker and I would fill in the names and I do all the things. May was really good. June was decent. But like I just had the 2 trips back to back. And so I'm kind of out of routine. But if there's someone that comes on my heart, I'll just be like, hey, you were on my heart today, thinking of you. How are things going? Like sometimes it's just like really random and sometimes it's just like relationship building. Of course I always do the birthdays, but yeah, I really don't have like, there's no like spiritual thing about like who am I messaging, but sometimes if there's like someone's on my heart, I'll like message them. But yeah, sometimes it's straight up like, hey, Courtney, did you guys hear that firework? That was so loud. Sorry, that startled me. This girl, Courtney, I'll show some specifics, but I was like, hey, Courtney, I'm gonna cold message her today. No relationship, nothing. So there's 3 like success stories, whatever I wanted to share tonight and give specifics, and they're all kind of different. Some similarities, but different. And like Courtney, for example, no relationship built, nothing. She was just an acquaintance in college. We might have had a couple mutual friends, but like never talked to her since college. Like probably on social media, like we see each other's stuff. But so all of this to say, like, I think another thing too that coaching has helped me with and Emily's stuff has helped me with is I got so overwhelmed with the what do I do? What are the rules? What's the social media rules? And I kind of just said forget it. Like I said forget all the things. I'm just going to do like what I want to do, and that like, and I still get people who don't respond. Like I'm not saying like all of this is like bringing tons of, business builders or anything, but it's just been working for me. And I think there was one more thing in the past. I think it was a power hour. There's a guest who this lady went emerald from doing a bazillion cold messages. She like, what was it, like raising the dead? I can't remember when that time was, but I was like, oh, these
It
things
was last July.
Okay,
name
so
is
back when
Lisa.
everything kind of started.
Name is Lisa. It was last July. Yes, she
Okay.
literally just messaged anyone and everyone. Now I would caution against going that fast because the faster you rise, the harder you fall. So just FYI, that was really cool, but you know, it only
Yeah,
lasts for so long. So
right.
you're doing it in a very nice strategic way. But yes, she
And
did
I
just
don't, and I do maybe like one a day, a couple, zero. It's really like I really don't have a set thing. Some of the organized people probably like have even a better system than me, but um they're always like a cool message to me also is someone that I do know, someone that I've met in real life, someone that has been a friend in the past, but just maybe haven't talked to in like years. So also know that like it's really not like a complete stranger, on like social media, but you can do that too. I'm sure that's worked for people. I just haven't really felt like I've needed to. So here we go. Let me find, I can also put things in the chat, like the cold messages that I've been sending. There's two specifically. Um,
Do you want me to make you the host so you can share your screen?
well, I just figured people, I don't know if people wanted to copy it
Oh, good call. Do that.
and then they can obviously tweak, everyone can do what they want. But
Okay.
so three examples. The first one is Courtney, who I mentioned. She's acquaintance. Um, she maybe just got married, maybe even a year ago. She's a traveling nurse, no relationship built. Picked her from my list, and um, this is. I'll put it in the chat too.
Okay.
Um, oops, sorry.
So I think what I appreciate about this though is most of us feel like, oh, people will come to us. And sometimes too, like had Alexa not messaged me, like she texted me, right? And said, hey, I have no idea if you're interested. I wouldn't have given it a second thought. And I did tell her no the first time. I did promptly go ahead and just confirm all of her fears. Okay. Her fear that I would say no, her fear that I would think she was a crazy college student that got sucked into something. I mean, yeah, I thought all those things, but then I came back around. So you just never know like where that cold message might land. And I've done this before too with people where I've noticed they're watching my stories and I'll message them and I'll say, I don't think we've ever talked about my health story. And I have a message I send. And one lady one day was like, oh my goodness, I think you just are an answer to prayer because they were having such a hard time with their daughter. So I always think of a cold message as like, I'm being a lifeguard and I don't know if you're drowning. So I'm just asking you if you're drowning. And if you're drowning, then I can throw you this buoy or whatever. But if you're not, that's fine too. You just can come let me know when you're drowning, right? You can start yelling help when you're ready. But
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
My computer's being a little slow, so I'm gonna read
That's okay.
it and then I'll copy it. I'll
Okay.
copy it all in there whenever I get a second. But I said, "Hey Courtney, so this is the cold message that Emily Gibson has given us. So, hey Courtney, I want to be really open with why I'm messaging you up front. I haven't seen that you've been struggling with anything in particular, but in case you might be suffering in silence like I did for years, I at least wanted to reach out. I talk all the time about what Plexus has done for my health, digestive issues, weight, skin issues, mood issues, energy, etc. And since making it my full-time job, God has done some major things with this opportunity. I'm curious if you've ever thought about trying the products or diversifying your income." So that's kind of a longer one. There's another short cold message that I'll send too, but so that was in April and she didn't respond. And because I'm like always messaging people or like in conversations, things just kind of fall down. I don't really think too much of it. I do have names written, so I know who to like go follow up with or check in on, but I'm not like ruminating that like, oh my gosh, she like opened it or saw it. So I just kind of let it be. But I noticed she read it and didn't respond. And it's always like, oh shoot, but in
Or
May,
it's just neutral. It just
yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm. So in May, it was her birthday. So I messaged her happy birthday. And then she apologized for not responding earlier. And then she's like, so what exactly are you talking about? Is it a supplement? I'm like, these people don't even know what, like, I forget that people still don't know what this is. And so that was like really eye-opening for me. I was like, okay, I'm not oversharing, that's for sure, because people still don't know what the heck this is. So that was kind of funny to me. I was like, okay, here we go. So just kind of like sent her some info. And then she didn't respond. And then asked a question, a follow-up question. She didn't respond. And then she went skydiving. So I messaged her. I was like, oh my gosh, all the things about skydiving. So kind of like went back and forth about that and a relationship built. And then in June, yeah, last month I was on a power hour and Sarah Randolph, is that her name? She had like the challenge for making this video, like actually video yourself and send it to people. And so that's what I did. I was like not looking cute. I was sweaty. I was gross. And I like made these videos. I think I just did like a few. And she was one I sent it to. And she's like, and so at the end, I asked her if she wants to get on a phone call. Basically, it was just like restating my question in the beginning and just like following up. And she's like, yeah, I'd love to get on a phone call. So then that has kind of spiraled into she's interested in the products and the business and blah, blah, blah. And she's been working a lot. So there's a lot of time in between our messages. But like I just added her to our event and she's reading the testimonies. But like that's just one example of like, if I would have overthought, like, okay, spend all this time like commenting on her stories and go engage and then like maybe message about like all of that sometimes is like too fluffy. Like I'm just gonna shoot her straight because that's really what I want to know if she's interested in Plexus. And so now there's other people that of course if I genuinely want to comment or engage, obviously that's a really important part. But I just want you all to hear like everything is different. All of these situations are different. And if you get too caught up in the what do I do's and you don't do anything, it's just like hindering growth and ultimately people from hearing about what you have to offer. So yeah, I'll copy that in the chat here in a second. Jeannie was another friend from college. She and I never really knew each other. Maybe did college ministry. And so there were some messages back, from college. And then I sent a cold message back in 2018, December 2018. I went back and looked at all this and there was no response. Then there were some birthdays, some comments on stories. And then September of last year, I invited her to our 3-day pink drink challenge. She said, no, thanks, not interested. Okay. And then in April, I sent basically the same message, but I said, hey, Jeannie, I know many months ago when I reached out, it wasn't a good time. You've probably seen my Plexus post and all the things it's helped me with. I haven't seen that you've been struggling with anything in particular, but in case you might be suffering in silence like I did for years, I at least wanted to reach out again. And since making it my full-time job, blah, blah, blah. And her response is, hi, Alexa, thank you for reaching out. I actually have been struggling with PCOS for many years. And with one of the main symptoms of weight gain, it has been causing me to have extra weight that is obviously unwanted, yet extremely hard to lose. I would be willing to look at my options for what Plexus products could help. Blah, blah, blah. In April, she ordered, that was like the free ease, which was awesome because that is like one thing, they need. And literally on June 1st, she messaged me, this might be TMI, but I did start my period this week after years of not having one on my own. I was like, okay, girl. So
you screenshot that little testimony somewhere?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I need to.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So just really, so these are the things I'm talking about. Like this stuff just like excites me and it just like fires me up because so many of my like people my age in our 20s have so many things and fertility issues are insane these days and just like all of these things. So that was really exciting. And the third one is Cassidy. She is another college friend, didn't really know her. She's kind of a dream teamer. Just because like her husband's really into money and like investing in stocks and just like wise with money, I think. And so I was like, I wonder if she'd ever want to do this business because she's pregnant and she has toddler twins and I think she works. So anyways, I wonder probably to much to go find her story. But she started with like, I sent her samples a while back, and she liked them, wanted to just kind of replace her soda issue, but I don't think wanted to spend the money on that. And then later on, she interacted with my poll, and I was like, hey, have you been thinking more about Plexus? I don't remember what my poll was about. And she's like, actually, yes, all these gut things, all these issues. I was like, funny how you've been dealing with that for years and you haven't told me when you were trying that pink drink. So it's just funny what people don't share right away. One, it's very vulnerable, and I get that. And her testimony is crazy. She signed up in over Memorial Day weekend, and she's like going regular. She's like, that is the biggest thing for me. Energy, like all these different things. And so I'll definitely send things in the chat before we get too far into things.
Well, and you can do, if you want to, since we're putting the recording on the team page, you can even just put them in the chat there too.
Well, I'll just probably do that. I'll put those in the comments.
Let's just do that, because then I'm probably going to create an Alexa board.
Okay.
Alexa's board, and then Alexa's messages. Because these are great. I mean, these are awesome.
There's another short one. I'll just get it from, because I know I sent it to you, Shan. There's another short message. If you're like, oh, it kind of feels like a lot. There's another cold message Emily does a lot. That's shorter. She just says, hey, I have no idea how you're doing. Like, just be really upfront. If you don't know what someone's up to, hey, no idea how you're doing, but I was not doing well before I started my gut health stuff. But since I focused on my gut health stuff, I felt so much better. I wonder if it's something you want to take a look at. Just an offer, super basic, but ends with the question. So anyways, that's those little stories. And there's just so many. It's just been so fun.
I love that. And I think it's just good too, to just like, again, like highlight what happened, right? Like you just had to revisit your why. You had to just do the things, even though you were frustrated, right? Like you just had to keep going, even though you were frustrated, and then deal with your own self-sabotaging thought, create a new one, and then operate out of the new one. And because you're operating out of the new one, now guess what you're doing? You've trained yourself to look for the stories. Right? Because in the midst of this, there's probably been some not great stories, right? But there's so many good stories. You just have to remind yourself of how many good stories there are. And it's always good too to remember, when someone first propositioned you about Plexus, like, did you think they were crazy or weird or whatever? Probably not. Or, you know what I mean? But now where you all are at, are you so glad someone told you? Yes. You're so glad. You're so glad, so that you can reach out from that posture. Like, we're not being weird or salesy or pushy, right? Like you have, and Alexa's like the least pushy person I've ever met in my life. So if Alexa can find the confidence to cold message, then I think we all can.
So true.
But I mean that as a compliment, because you're like the sweetest person. So I just think this is awesome. And I've loved watching this whole thing. Like, it's been awesome. Yeah.
Coaching is good, y'all. Mindset stuff. Like, sometimes I would be like, oh my gosh, that again. Like, I want to know what people are doing, or tell me the things to do. Like, I don't, like, just tell me the things. But it's crazy how that is so foundational, and how like you just operate out of how your mindset is. Like, your tone comes, like, I just feel like people can feel your energy in your words. And so I'm sure that is a difference too. Like, it just all matters, but it has to be mindset foundation. So
I love that.
Is anyone having questions?
I was gonna say, y'all feel free to unmute and pick Alexa's brain.
I just want to say something real quick, because she called me out earlier. So I went back and creeped through our messages real quick. And when you sent that message that you were talking about, like, about the orphanage, about you and Nate's life plans and everything, I had just started back my supplements back up after being off of them for several months. And after you sent me that message, within the next day or two, we were talking about me making my first post to start sharing, because I had it in my mind, if I was going to start it back up, I needed to do the business side of things to help get my products paid for. But I don't think you had any idea that was in my mind.
Yeah.
But so with you sharing that, then it just unfolded from there. So it just goes to show you don't know where anyone's at. You don't know, what are in people's minds. So I just wanted to share that because
Okay.
that message was like a 5-minute long message, like
It
you
was.
said.
And all y'all
And it
listened to it,
worked.
like, these people are saints. Oh gosh, I love that. Thanks.
It's fun.
What did my mom say? Oh,
I
yeah,
made
Oh.
her Amazon device go off.
maybe always.
Anyone else have questions? No. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll get all these words put in the comments whenever you post, Shan.
yeah, I will, once we're done here, I'll get it up there and then I'll kind of, revamp again. But I would also love to see, if you're willing to share it, your video message you sent people.
Oh, sure. It's so bad.
And oh, it's fine.
This is also what she talked about though, like perfect is not the goal, like
Right.
just do it. And like, even if you stumble over your words, people are like, oh my gosh, she's so human, or like, oh my gosh, I stutter too. I'm not that like, so yeah, I did it. And then
People want to see your real self. And I always tell people,
Sure.
like, I try to get in my stories and whatnot with like no makeup on and whatnot. So when people see me out and about, they like actually recognize me, like,
yeah, no,
this is what I look like all the time. I don't look like my profile picture. So I think that's true. Like, people just want to know you're just a real human. So I think that's perfect. But yeah, I would love to see that. And then if you could maybe recap somewhere, like what you put in that message that you sent your customers, right? Like kind
the
of
voice
what you,
message.
like
My
the one you
why.
sent to Tara.
Okay.
I would love, because I think that's really good. I think you're right. I think some people don't connect with, like, maybe why we continue to do this, or
Tara, can you go scroll back and forward me that message, or like resend? I wonder how that would work. I
you should
can
forward
scroll
it.
too, but it's like a year. You went all the way back. That's amazing. Oh,
Oh,
you're
you're
muted.
muted. You're muted.
Say again.
I searched it because I knew it was in July of last year.
Okay. I'll
So,
search like, okay.
yeah, so if you type in July 2022, just scroll up a few messages.
Okay.
See there.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, maybe just give us an outline of what you did. And I think those are some good maybe challenges for the month of July for our team, which is, redefine your why, right? And then kind of figure out, like, what is this business for you?
Oh, one more thing before we go. I was thinking today, so we all know there's like a bazillion products out there, right? And some of them, like not all of them are junk, a lot of them are junk, but there's also a lot of good ones. And I just finally like had this light bulb moment today that like the only thing, not the only thing unique about us, but I mean, our products are unique, obviously, but our community, like people can get products anywhere. They can go order them from anywhere. And I know that, but today I was like, I have to talk about the community. I think people are so lonely, or just like need friendship, or just want like people to walk them through their regimen that like Target or Walmart won't do. So like Bob Heilig probably says it, I don't know who, but like we are selling ourselves. Like we're not selling a product, like we are offering ourselves with the product, and like we're going to do this with you, and you can come to Vegas with us, and you can come to our team calls, and you can be in this community, and like that is what's unique about us. And so when we're not offering that, like we're missing a really big piece of what we have to offer. So that's
100%.
another challenge.
Joanna Slavin at our Jewel breakout at convention was like, we have more to offer than Amazon. Like, Amazon can't compete with us. Actually, they can't compete. Which is a good reminder. So, okay, go forth and be bold, friends. I'll put this on the team page, and then Alexa, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
I just love it. So any other wisdom you ever have, we would love to hear from you.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone.
Hey, goodbye, friends.
Bye.
Later.